Do you ever wish you could have a do-over? If so, this video is for you. I'm going to talk about 3 books that are about people who live in circles. Hello, book people. P.T. Hilton here. So what do I mean when I say books about people who live in circles? What I mean is these are 3 stories of people who live their whole lives, they die, and then after they die, they're reborn, but as themselves, again, as a baby, so they can relive their whole life again, and then the cycle keeps continuing. There's a few great books around that. I'm sure there's lots more books that I don't know about and haven't read about on that, so I'd love to hear about those in the comments. But here are the 3 that I want to talk to you about today. The first one is the first one of these books that I read. It is called Replay by Ken Grimwood. This is the story of a man who dies, I believe in his late 40s, early 50s, and wakes up again. Now, in all these books, one of the kind of like things they have to get around a little bit is, what about when you're like a baby? Are you just a baby just laying in your crib with memories of a full life? How hellish would that be? The way this book gets around that is it actually has him restart his life when he's like in his college years, and then he lives through to his death and repeats again and again. This book, I would say, is probably the most fun of the 3, probably, in that it really has fun with this idea and lets the main character have a lot of fun. Almost in like the movie Groundhog's Day, there's that huge section where Bill Murray's basically just having fun with his powers and learning all kinds of crazy stuff and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a huge chunk of this book that is just that. It's just the main character, like things that if you think about, man, if I could live over and over again, I would make all this money, I would do all this stuff, I would learn all these skills. A lot of this book is around that. It does eventually, towards the end, get to more of a serious plot type thing that he's trying to fix, kind of a thing. But really, the strength of this novel and the reason to read it, I think, is the fun aspect, that just him having a good time. This book's the oldest of the 3 by far. I think it came out in the 80s. Okay, it's looked on Amazon, and it looks like 1998 was when at least this edition was published, but it may have been published before that. I'm not sure. Sorry. But I would definitely recommend it if you like fun reads, if you like just having a good time and imagining, man, if I had that weird power, what would I do? The second book is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This one's a little bit different in that it's the story of a woman who, her name is Ursula. She, again, lives through a whole life again and again. But in this one, she doesn't have like a super clear memory of her past lives. In fact, she doesn't even really realize that she's reliving her lives. So we're watching her live again and again, but she doesn't necessarily know exactly what's going on. I'll give you an example of what I mean. When she's a teenager, she's attacked by someone, and that happens through numerous lives. But slowly as it happens, as she's lived 5 or 6 lives or whatever, she slowly just starts to be like nervous around that person, very wary of that person, and she doesn't really understand why. But over time, she just starts to develop like a stronger and stronger hatred of that person, and eventually almost subconsciously figures out a way to avoid those kind of situations. So that's an example of how she doesn't really remember exactly, but what happens in her past lives do affect what happened in the subsequent lives. This is by far, of the 3 that I'm going to talk about, the most kind of literary, the most beautifully written, I would say. It's a really great story. This is very much a character study. While it does have a plot, and a pretty good plot, I think, in this one you're really in it, I think, for the character study of this woman. And the interesting thing, following her through life after life, as the title says. And it's interesting because, basically we know more than she does, so it's interesting to see her at times make the same mistakes again and again, and we're like, Ursula, and then at other times see how she's changed by these lives. So again, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend all 3 of these books. The third one is I'm actually not finished with yet. I'm reading right now, but I didn't want to wait to do this video because I was just excited about doing it. This is The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. I would say this, if I said Replay is the most fun, Life After Life is the most literary, I would say The First 15 Lives of Harry August is the most kind of epic and sci-fi-ish. It's almost got almost like a Doctor Who kind of vibe to it in the just this epic scope and the adventure kind of it. So this is again the story of a guy who was born I believe in the 1920s in this case, and lives through his life and dies and starts again. But what's interesting about this one is that the book opens with him as an old man and a young child coming to him and saying, "Oh, I'm glad I caught you before you died. The world's ending, and the ending is getting sooner and sooner. please pass it on. Basically, then he dies, and he has this knowledge that the world's ending sooner and sooner, and there's something he's supposed to do about it. And as you might be able to infer from that, there is multiple people who can do this. There's kind of this whole society of people. One of the really cool things in the book is the way that they pass information, like that. They pass information like child to old person. Then when that person becomes a child again, they can pass it to an old person who does the same thing. And then when that person dies and is a child again, they can basically pass messages back and forward through time like that. Really cool concept. Like I say, I'm not done with the book yet, but I'm really enjoying it, really loving it. I'm listening to it on audio, and it is great. So those are the 3 books I would recommend about people who live in circles. If you know of others, please put them in the comments below. I love this topic, so I'd love to read more. That's going to do it for me. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.